Welcome all viewers. Our topic for discussion today is glycolysis or the Embden-Meyerhof pathway. This particular pathway is the major pathway for glucose utilization and is found in almost all the cells, all the tissues of your body, and is active in the cytoplasm at the subcellular level. Now, glucose is a unique substrate, although it can utilize other substrates like fructose as well. Now, glycolysis can occur in the absence of oxygen when the end product is lactate. And however, tissues that can utilize oxygen are able to metabolize pyruvate it to pyruvate and to acetyl-CoA, which can then subsequently enter the TCA for complete oxidation to CO2 and water and the liberation of free energy as ATP in the process of oxidative phosphorylation. Now, this is a net reaction which is showing the transformation of glucose into pyruvate. So, a 6-carbon compound such as glucose with 2 molecules of inorganic phosphorus, 2 ADP, and utilization of 2 NAD leads to production of 2 pyruvate molecules and 2 ATP molecules and 2 NADH, which then subsequently enter the electron transport chain and lead to production of net 6 ATPs, and finally 2 molecules of water. Now, coming to the general reactions of glycolysis, it is a 10-step reaction, and in this particular cycle we can see that the first, second and the third step here, they are the energy consuming steps. You can see ATP consumption here, and this is the energy consumption phase, whereas the bottom part of the reactions, these are the energy generation phase. So in the first step, the 6-carbon glucose is phosphorylated to form glucose 6-phosphate, which is a very important intermediate, and it forms an intermediate in several other metabolic cycles as well by the utilization of 1 ATP molecule here, and this is done by the action of the enzyme hexokinase and glucokinase. Now, subsequently, especially in glycolysis, the next fate of glucose 6-phosphate is that by the action of phosphohexose isomerase, it gets converted to fructose 6-phosphate. This fructose 6-phosphate utilizes another molecule of ATP here by the action of enzyme phosphofructokinase, gets converted to fructose 1,6-biphosphate. And this fructose 1,6-biphosphate ultimately gets split up into 2 phosphotrioses by the action of the enzyme aldolase. One is dihydroxyacetone phosphate and the second one is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Both these forms are readily interconvertible by the action of phosphotriose isomerase enzymes, and henceforth all these steps following up to the formation of pyruvate here, these occur twice. Okay, because DHAP will also be subsequently converted to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, and following this it undergoes oxidation. The steps are similar, and this is basically the energy production phase. You can see there is one ATP generation here, there is another ATP generation here, and this particular NADH, it is ultimately directed to the electron transport chain, where it leads to production of almost 6 ATPs. And all these reactions occur by the action of certain specific enzymes such as phosphoglycerate kinase, phosphoglycerate mutase, enolase and pyruvate kinase until an enol form of pyruvate is formed. Now, this pyruvate enol form undergoes spontaneous conversion to form its keto isomer, and this involves release of certain amount of energy. However, if this particular cycle is proceeding under conditions of anaerobiasis, like it's mentioned here, the pyruvate is converted to lactate by the action of enzyme lactate dehydrogenase, and this particular enzyme is NADH dependent. So whatever NADH that was generated by the action of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, instead of being directed into the electron transport chain, it is utilized for lactate formation. So that is why when we look at the energetics of glycolysis, we see here that at this particular step there is nil production of ATPs. However, if it was proceeding by aerobic pathway, there is generation of 6 ATPs. So the net production, if we see, of ATP under anaerobic cycle is only +2. However, under aerobic conditions, it is +8. So anytime a cell would prefer anaerobic glycolysis. So just to summarize, EMP pathway is the main pathway for metabolism of glucose, fructose and galactose, which has been derived from the diet. And glycolysis is the first step in the breakdown of glucose to extract energy for cellular metabolism. And it consists of energy requiring phase followed by an energy releasing phase. And moreover, it can proceed under both aerobic as well as anaerobic conditions. These are the references for further study. You can refer to Harper's, you can refer to Leininger's Principles of Biochemistry and Strayer's Biochemistry. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.